We have the world at our fingertips, inspiration in our touch, and power in our hands. Our hands can build relationships, frame ideas, and empower communities. Right here, in our hands, we have the power to save a life. If you see a teen or adult suddenly collapse, call 911 and push hard and fast in the center of the chest.
The power is in your hands.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today to learn how to save a life with hands-only CPR. My name is Sonia Vesmar, and I am the Business Development Director for the American Heart Association here in the Midwest region. We're here today to show you how to save a life, how to perform hands-only CPR during CPR Week. June 1st through the 7th each year is our National CPR Week, spotlighting how lives can be saved if more Americans knew how to perform CPR. But before we go any further, let me ask one thing of you. We want you guys to get involved, so please hit that share button on your screen to start a watch party or to share the stream with your friends and family right now so that they can learn right along with us. Also, here in a minute, we're going to put on a question on the screen and get your opinion. First, let's practice. Try to text AHA polling, all one word, to 22333. It's safe, and we won't ask your name or any information. It's just a fun and easy way to answer. But if you don't want to text in, you can also participate by simply typing your response into the comments section below. So let's try it out with our first question and test your knowledge with a little trivia. Remember, text AHA polling to 22333. So our first question is, we want to know about how many cardiac arrests happen outside of a hospital each year. Outside of a hospital could mean a school setting, a sports setting, a restaurant, maybe your place of work, maybe even your own home. Again, how many cardiac arrests happen outside of a hospital each year? Type in your response. So is it A, 175,000, B, 250,000, or C, 350,000, or D, 425,000? Again, type in your response in the chat box below or text it to AHA polling to 22333. So it looks like you guys are putting in some answers. Looking good. Give you a couple more seconds. Okay. All right. It looks like the majority of you guys got it. You're right. 350,000 sudden cardiac arrests happen outside of a hospital each year. We'll talk about exactly what a cardiac arrest is in a minute, but I have one more question for you before we move on. What percentage of a cardiac arrest happen at the home? And I'll give you guys a little hint. It might be a surprising answer to what you think it is. So again, what percentage of a cardiac arrest happens at home? Is it A, 25%, B, 40%, C, 55%, or D, 70%? Wow, you guys answered that quick. You're right. It is, no, actually, you guys, I'm sorry. You thought it was 55%. I gave you the hint. I told you it was going to be surprising. It's actually 70%, which is kind of just hard to imagine that many cardiac arrests happen in your home. So let's talk about how we consider what hands-on CPR and think about how we prepare for it. Some of us go our whole lives without ever encountering an emergency situation. So most of us don't even have a plan. We don't think about it. We don't prepare. But that's okay. That's why we're here today. I'll show you everything you need to know and how to help a teen or an adult who is in need of CPR. Cardiac arrest is when a person's heart suddenly stops beating, and it is the leading cause of death in adults in the United States. As we touched on earlier in the poll, over 350,000 Americans suffer out of hospital cardiac arrest every year, and sadly about 90% die. Since we just learned that 70% of cardiac arrests happen in the home, The reality is you'll most likely have to use hands-only CPR on someone you know and love, such as a friend or a family member. Hands-only CPR, especially if performed immediately, can double or even triple a cardiac victim's chance of survival. So, if someone is in cardiac arrest, trying to help is always going to be your best option. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the steps of CPR twice to help make sure that you're comfortable with these steps on how to save a life. So, think about it. Let's say you walk into a room where an adult is lying on the ground. The first thing you're going to do is tap the person and shout something like, "Hey, are you okay? Are you okay?" The victim might be gasping for air. They might be a little blue in the face. Their eyes might even be open. But if they are not responding or are unconscious, then you need to get help right away. So if you're alone, you're going to call 911 yourself. Hopefully you'll have your phone on you. Call 911, put it on speaker. But if there's someone around, make sure you firmly say, "Hey, you call 911 and bring help and bring the AED." Say it like you mean it so they know exactly who you're talking to. When you call 911, the emergency dispatcher will ask some important questions so that they can help you send help fast, quickly, and to the right place. They'll likely ask you things such as, is the patient conscious? If your answer is no, then they'll ask, are they breathing normally? But regardless of what they ask, do not hang up unless the emergency dispatcher tells you to. Ideally, you could put the phone on speaker like I mentioned before and next to you so that you can begin hands-only CPR immediately, but still communicate with the dispatcher. So once you or someone else has called 911, you're going to need to start hands-only CPR right away. I'm going to demonstrate for you now on the mannequin. So what you're going to do is you're going to place your hands in the center of the chest. The first thing that you need to remember is that if the victim isn't already on the floor, you want to make sure you move them to a hard surface so that you can perform the best CPR compressions possible. So you're going to put your hands in the middle of the chest, one on top of the other on the hard part of the bone on your chest, and you're going to lock your elbows so that when you're giving a chest compression, you're using your upper body strength to make sure that you're pushing down hard and fast. You want to push about 2 inches deep, and you want to push to a beat of about 100 to 120 beats per minute. So there's songs like Staying Alive by the Bee Gees, or there's a song by Beyonce called Crazy in Love. And so some of those songs, if you kind of think about it in your head, they'll help you to remember the beat and help you to stay on the beat. So I'm going to practice for you now. And again, you want to push hard and fast in the center of the chest to the beat of Staying Alive. Ah, 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 ah. Staying alive, staying alive. Ah, 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 ah. Staying alive, staying alive. Ah, 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 ah. Staying alive, staying alive. If you're doing it and you're getting tired, it means you're doing it right. You're pushing hard enough and you're pushing fast enough. Okay. Another thing is, for me, I'm practicing on the mannequin here, but we do have something called our CPR Anytime Kit, which is a great device that you can use at home with your friends and family to learn how to do CPR. It comes with a mannequin, which has a built-in clicker, so it'll help you know how hard you're pushing and how fast you're pushing. They're available online in our store at shopcpr.heart.org. We'll add the link in the comments so that you can take a look after we're done here. So you would keep doing CPR until emergency personnel arrives. But listen, any CPR is better than no CPR. Don't hesitate. If you give hands-only CPR until emergency help arrives, then you can dramatically increase the chance of survival for that victim. We'll practice again in a few minutes, but let's take a quick break and hear from our audience again with a couple of trivia questions. As a reminder, all of you have to do is text AHA polling to 22333 to answer your question. If you've already registered, you don't have to do it again. Or if you're joining us from your phone and you want to make it easier, just drop your answers into the comments. Let's start with the first question. Certain populations are less likely to receive bystander CPR. Citizens from primarily poor, Hispanic, or African American neighborhoods are more likely to go into cardiac arrest outside of a hospital, and they are less likely to receive bystander CPR. So the question is, are Hispanic or African Americans from primarily poor neighborhoods more likely to have a cardiac arrest event outside of a hospital and not receive bystander CPR? You have two choices, either A, true, or B, false. Looks like you guys got it. Correct, true. Our next question. African Americans have the highest incident of sudden cardiac arrest outside of a hospital and are significantly less likely to survive that cardiac arrest. Studies have shown that out-of-hospital cardiac arrests in Black neighborhoods have alarmingly low survival rates and bystander response due to the bystander's unwillingness to perform CPR or even use an AED. Other associated challenges are due to limited English. This language barrier can affect how emergency help is dispatched when bystanders call 911. This causes delays in both cardiac arrest recognition and implementation of telephone CPR. So the question is, the sudden cardiac arrest incidences, are they higher in those with a lower socioeconomic status? True or false? You guys got it. True. Additionally, lower socioeconomic status is also associated with an increased risk of out-of-hospital coronary heart disease death and sudden cardiac death. Remember, cardiac arrest is when a person's heart suddenly stops beating. Again, over 350,000 Americans suffer out-of-hospital cardiac arrest every year, and about 70% of those happen in the home. Hands-only CPR can double or even triple a cardiac arrest victim's chance of survival. So we're going to go through it one more time. And I'm going to walk you through exactly what you need to do. So the first thing you want to do is, if you see a victim lying on the floor, either a teen or adult, after you've made sure that the scene is safe, you want to go up to them and say, hey, are you okay? Are you okay? If they're not responding, if they're gurgling, if they look blue in the face, and they're just, or they're even unconscious, you want to call 911 immediately. If you're alone, use your cell phone, call 911, put it on speaker. If you're in a crowd of people, just make sure that you point to the exact person you want. Just say, hey, you in the blue shirt, call 911 and bring an AED. And then you immediately start CPR. So again, you're going to kneel beside the person. For today's demonstration, I'm standing, but you want to put the palm of your hand in the center of the chest, your other hand over it, and you want to lock your elbows and you want to push down hard and fast to the beat of staying alive, which is 100 to 120 beats per second. You want to make sure that you're not pushing too fast so that it allows the chest to rise and the heart to fill up with blood. Think of it like a sponge. If you squeeze a sponge too fast, it's not going to be able to get all of the water out. Okay, so that's how easy it is. It's really simple. So in just a few minutes, you've learned how to save a life with 2 simple steps of hands-only CPR. Call 911 and push hard and fast in the center of the chest. As we wrap up, I have one more question for you. Do you believe that you can save a life with hands-only CPR now? Hopefully the answer is yes. I know if you're like me, you may want some additional information to look back on. So please, if you would like to learn if there are classes available near you, or you're interested even in purchasing one of our CPR Anytime kits, please visit our website at heart.org/hands-only CPR. You'll find everything you need there. The American Heart Association strives to be a relentless force for longer, healthier lives. So we thank you for joining us in honor of CPR Week. Remember, your 2 hands can save a life. Stay safe and have a great day.